invited your family and your friends over for Christmas dinner and you want to offer them a really nice starter, but you've got the issue of what do you serve? Some like this, some like that. You've got your fussy and your picky eaters. I'm going to show you 3 very simple starters, 2 of which you can make the night before, 1 you can make in the morning and just finish it off before you're ready to serve your Christmas dinner. If you want to see some more Christmas recipes, pop over to my channel, there is a couple on there. Also subscribe to the channel as well. I'm hoping to get a couple more out before the big day arrives. Let's get cooking. Hi, I'm Emma with Really Simple Recipes. I'm going to do these recipes in the rating of 1 to 3, so the easiest to easy. And the way that I've rated them is if you have to cook it, the amount of ingredients, and if you can make it the night before. So the easiest one I've got requires no cooking. It can be made the night before, and I think there's around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ingredients. So the first one I'm going to be making is bruschetta. And the ingredients that I'm going to be using, we've got a baguette, we've got some vine ripened cherry tomatoes, we've got a couple of garlic cloves, a red onion, some basil, balsamic vinegar and some olive oil. Let's get started with the recipe. So we'll start by prepping up our veg. I'll probably zoom this along in the editing. So we're going to start with our red onion, and I only want half of this red onion. Okay, so there's my onion nicely diced up. So what we're going to do now is make a start on chopping up our tomatoes. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just finely chop them up. I'm not going to be too careful about how I do it. It doesn't matter how chunky they are. A different knife would be a good idea. Let's give them a good chop up. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop them into the colander. The reason being, I just want to drain off a little bit of the liquid. I don't want too much on there because it can make your bruschettas a bit soggy. So let's give them a good chop, pop them in your colander. Okay, so that's my tomatoes done. Let's give it a bit of a shake, get some more electricity. You can see there, quite a bit of liquids come out. So it's good that we've done that, just to make sure it's not too soggy. Let's get my glass bowl back over here. Pop that in there. The last thing we want is soggy toast. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to crush it up our garlic. And make sure I've got a bit of table that's cleanish. A lot of you probably use a garlic press. I've never had one or used one. I just tend to smash it with the back of a knife and go from there. And I'll pop that into my bowl. So that's my garlic there. And now we're going to work on our basil. So I'm using 3 basil leaves. They have been washed before this. I'm just going to give these a cut up. Oh, I love the smell of basil when you're cutting into it. It smells lovely. Make sure we give them a good breaking up. Okay. And then we're going to pop that into our bowl. Basil. And all we need to do now is add in our olive oil and your balsamic vinegar. And all we're going to do now is just give that a stir. Get all those flavours mixed up, get all the onion and garlic and the balsamic mushed in around there. That smells beautiful. I love balsamic vinegar. The flavour of balsamic is beautiful. You need to be very careful as well. Don't break your tomato up too much when stirring this. So if you can, just grab it from the bottom, just tip it around. Okay, Okay, so that is my tomato bruschettas all prepped and ready to go. So what we need to do now with this is pop a plate on top and we're going to stick it into the fridge. And I advise to put it in the fridge for a minimum of an hour. You can leave it overnight, as I've said previously, or you can do it in the morning and leave it for a few hours. By leaving it in the fridge for that hour, it just gives it time for it to soak and for all the flavours to blend together. Okay, and pop it in the fridge. So we're going to finish off our bruschetta now. So I've taken my bruschetta mixture out of the fridge because I just want to warm that up a little bit. I want to get it at room temperature. I don't want to eating it cold. And all we're going to do, I've got a French stick here, a baguette, and I'm just going to do diagonal cuts of baguette, and I'm just going to toast it on either side. I've got some pieces there, and then we're just going to put these under the grill just to brown them off. Okay, so that's my bread nicely browned up, and all I'm going to do, because there's another little bit of a mix, just pop that on top of the bruschetta. Doesn't matter if some of it falls off. Nice good coating. There you go. And there you have it, bruschetta. Okay, so we're on to recipe number 2 now. So this one is everybody's favourite, tomato soup. Everybody loves tomato soup. You cannot go wrong with it. And this is really easy to make. So what we'll be using some tomato puree. We've got an onion, got some salad tomatoes, plain flour, vegetable stock cubes, some butter, and just seasoning with salt and pepper. You can add other things if you want. If you want to add a bit of basil, you could do that. You could also add a bit of garlic. It's totally up to you how you want to make your soup. I'm just giving you the basic recipe that's really easy to make. Before we start this one, I just want to say a big thank you and a big hello to Katie. So a few weeks ago, I popped on my social media on Facebook asking what kind of recipes people are looking for over Christmas. And Katie said that she was looking for starters. So I'm not giving you one, I'm giving you 3. So Katie is also known as Learn a Vegan. She is absolutely fantastic with what she's doing. She's helping people transition over to veganism. She's got some fantastic tips and advice. Even if you're a vegan, I found some of the stuff very helpful. So go over, have a look at what she's doing. It is really, really good to follow. So thank you again, Katie. Let's get cooking this soup. Okay, so let's get going then. So what you've done first of all, I didn't want to have you standing there watching me chop veggies. I've just roughly chopped up the onion and tomato. I'm not concerned about how they look because I'm not using it as a presentation, so it's not a problem. So I'm going to be using my trusty one pots. Absolutely brilliant for your soup, and the good thing about using this is if I wanted to, I can make the soup the night before. It's got a sealable lid. I can also make the soup in the morning, and that way I'm not using up any of the saucepans which I can use for my Christmas dinner. So we'll make a start by just browning off our onion first of all, and I'm going to be doing that with some butter. So this is your plant-based goodness, which is your flour buttery, and I'm going to pop in there about 2 tablespoons of butter. Okay, so about 2 tablespoons in there. So it's my butter in there. Okay, I'm popping my trusty one pot onto saute, and what I'm going to add in there now, I'm just going to add in my onion because I want to just soften them off just to make sure that they cook through. In there with butter. Got my trusty one pot spoon. So the one thing that I absolutely love about all of these recipes is it's really easy to make them gluten-free. So they're very adaptable. You can adapt your flavours with a lot of them as well. So for this one, if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of garlic or a little bit of basil. There's so many options and variations that you can use. Okay, so you can see there the onions are starting to soften up nicely now. Okay, so now my onions have softened up. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add in some flour. So I'm adding in about a tablespoon, it's probably a little bit more than a tablespoon into there. One thing that we need to make sure that we do when adding the flour is that we don't burn it. It's very easy to do. So what we're looking for is it should go grainy, look kind of sandy when we've added the flour. Pop that in there. Put my flour in there. You can see the sides, you might just be able to see where it's all grainy. And that's the flour, that's what we're looking for, so do be careful, you don't want to burn it. Okay. So what we're going to do now is add in our veg stock. I'm going to add it in a little bit of a time and we're going to whisk as we go along. Be careful that you don't burn your whisk. Be careful you don't burn yourself and mind your whisk. This will be what makes your soup's thickness. Okay. See it there, giving that a good whisk. And just keep adding that stock. You have to excuse if the camera keeps steaming up. But can you see it there? That's it. It's starting to thicken up, that's what we're looking for. We need to keep whisking it as it'll go clumpy and we don't want it to be clumpy. And it's best to use a whisk rather than a spoon. Okay, so it's all my stock added. It has worked really well. I've got no lumps of flour, which is what I'm looking for, so it's great. So we're now ready to move on to the last stage. Okay, so I'm going to pop this over to soup. There we go. Now what I'm going to do now, put these out of the way. I'm going to pop in our tomatoes. Oh, just carefully you don't burn yourself because it does cause a little bit of splattage. Okay. And we're going to pop in there as well about a tablespoon of tomato puree. I never measure my tomato puree. Put a big dollop in there and then we go a tablespoon. Give that a bit of a stir. Okay, and we're just going to put in a bit of black pepper and some salt. And this is where you would add the basil if you wanted to put some basil in there. You can use dry or fresh basil, totally up to you. Let's give that another stir. Okay, so there's my tomato soup all done. It looks lovely. I'm going to pop the lid on this and I'm going to leave this for about 30 minutes to an hour. I think an hour is going to be the time that I'm going to leave it till, just to make sure that those tomatoes are fully broken down. If you're in a bit of a rush, you can do it within half an hour, but I advise if you can wait that hour. As I said before, make it the night before or make it early in the morning, just leave it in your one pot and that'll be fine as well. Okay, so that's that one cooking. We'll leave that and we'll come back to that one a little bit later. So my soup has been on for an hour, so we're ready to blend it now. Okay, so let's get blending our soup. Be careful, it's going to be hot, that's why I'm using an immersion blender, so I'm keeping it in this pot. I'm just going to give that a good blitz. Okay, so that is nicely blitzed up, so that is done. So let's move this out of the way. So that soup looks really nice. It's a bit bubbly at the moment because I've just blended it. So I've got a nice spoonful there. Looking forward to trying this. That is so nice. That is the nicest tomato soup I've ever had. That's beautiful. Highly recommend you making this for Christmas dinner. Now we're on to our final starter. So this one is easy to make. As you can see, there's hardly any ingredients here. The reason I've said this one isn't super easy or really easy, it's just easy. It requires cooking, it requires a little bit more time, so that little bit more prep. But it is worthwhile doing. It is a really nice start and it's easy to do. Some of it you could prep in advance and then seal up later on, or you could try making it the night before, have a bit of an experiment and then just pop it in the oven on a low temperature just to warm it through. But for me, I like to have this one nice and fresh. So what we have here, we've got a little bit of parsley, like my reduced sticker, so 50 pieces. I've got some puff pastry, 3 garlic cloves, some mushrooms and some olive oil. And what we're going to be making is some garlic mushroom parcels. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to start just by chopping up my mushrooms and my garlic. I will fast forward because I don't want to be standing there or sitting there watching me chop vegetables. I've chopped up my mushrooms. I've only roughly chopped them. I'm not too concerned about how they look. I've chopped up my garlic, I've finally chopped them up, and I've also finally chopped up my parsley as well. So they are all ready to go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just cook these through. I know I'm somebody that usually prefers to use water rather than oil because it's healthier, but for this recipe I feel that you need oil for the garlic taste. It just combines all the ingredients very well. So we're going to put a good amount of oil in there. And we're going to pop in our mushrooms. Put them in there. So it's up to you with your mushrooms. I use chestnut mushrooms. If you prefer a different variety, by all means use them. I'd say I've only roughly chopped mine up. If you want them to look a little bit neater, you could slice them up. It's totally... you know, as with anything, it's your preference and what you like with regards to cooking these recipes. So you want to make sure you've got a good amount of oil so that the mushrooms are covered. So I'm going to add a bit more in there. And I'm going to add in there our garlic as well. Give that a good stir. This will only take about 3 or 4 minutes just to cook through. We want to cook the mushrooms, so to make sure that we get that nicely done. Good thing about doing these recipes this year is this is the first year that I've been doing Christmas recipes. Well, it's the first year I've been doing recipes on YouTube. It's really getting me into the Christmas spirit early. I find myself just walking around the house whistling or singing Christmas songs. And no, I'm not going to give you a rendition because I'm not the best singer in the world. Sing from my personal ears only. You'll thank me if you've heard me singing. Okay, so it's looking really nice. I love the smell of garlic when it's cooking, it's really nice. Okay, so that's done. So I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to season with a little bit of black pepper. And also I'm going to season with my parsley as well. It's nicely mashed up. I always forget about this chopping board having a hole in it. It's a bit of a pain. But here we go, we are where we are. I'm just going to give that a stir. Good mixing. It's all mixed up nicely together. And what I'm going to do, because I don't want to be putting this on warm on the pastry, I'm going to let it cool down before we pop it into our parcels. So this is a bit, I said you could possibly make this in the morning. So you can make it, pop your lid on, just pop it to one side, and then when you're ready to prep your pastry, then you can do your pastry and put your filling in. So I'm going to put this to one side, as I say, and I'm going to let this cool down, and then we'll move on to the parcels. While we're waiting for the mushrooms to cool down, we're going to make a start on our pastry. As you know, mushrooms, they take no time at all to cool. So by the time we've got our pastry rolled out and cut into the relevant position and shapes, we should be ready to go. So what we'll do first is we'll just stick our oven on. And I've put my oven on to a gas mark 6. For this I'm using your Just Roll puff pastry. And the good thing about this is it comes in its own grease-proof paper as well. So I haven't got to bother with trying to line a tray or anything, so that's good. So one thing you should always remember with your puff pastry, you do need to get it out of the fridge a little bit in advance before you're ready to use it. Okay, just be very slow with rolling it out because you don't want to tear at the pastry either. There we go. Okay, so that's my pastry all rolled out. So what I'm looking for about 6 squares. Okay, so just cut across the middle. Doesn't need to be perfect, so don't worry about it being perfect. We're not perfect people here. So we'll just cut down, make squares. Like so. Some may be bigger than others as well. Again, don't worry about it, it's not a problem. So it's my 6 squares all ready to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get a little tiny bit of olive oil and I'm just going to go around the edges of one of them. Like so. And I'm going to get my mixture, which is here, which has cool quality. And get a spoon and put my mixture in the middle, like so. And what we'll do, we're just going to close this parcel up as best we can. Hopefully your oil, let's give it a press in the middle, that oil should help it come together a bit. As I say, this is the most difficult one out of all the recipes I've done. It's just getting that parcel to come together. It doesn't matter so much if your corners are open, that's not a problem at all with this, it's fine. Just make sure you get a good seal on that parcel, and if it comes open a little bit, don't worry about it, it's not a problem. So what we'll do, same again, put a bit of oil around the outside. This just helps it come together, helps us get that good seal on it. Okay, get some of your mixture. Like so. And do just bring in your corners again, get them all together first, like so, and then you can look at it starting to seal it up. And for the finale, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use a bit of my egg glaze, which isn't egg glaze, which is just maple syrup and soya, just to give it a bit of a yellow colour. It's just nice to give it that nice colouring. Okay, so these are going to go in the oven now for around 20 minutes to half an hour, or until the pastry is puffed up and nice and brown. It's as simple as that. 3 Christmas starters. So you've got your garlic mushroom parcels, your bruschetta, and your tomato soup. I really hope that you've enjoyed this one today. It has been a lot of fun to do. They are really quick to make. The bruschetta, it took me about 5 minutes. The soup, that took me about 10 minutes to put together. And then you've got your garlic parcels. They took about 15-20 minutes to put together. So they're all really easy to make, really simple ideas, and you don't have to have them for Christmas. You can have them at any time you want. That tomato soup, oh my god, it tasted amazing. It tasted so like Heinz tomato soup. Please do give it a go. If you have enjoyed today, do give me a like. And if you want to see some more Christmas recipes, I've got a lovely Wellington on my channel, so pop over, have a look at that. Also subscribe to the channel as well. I'm hoping to get some more coming through. If you've got any comments, questions, pop that below and I look forward to getting back to you on them. Or just wish me happy Christmas. I'm always happy to have a happy Christmas cheer. Thank you very much for watching.